Hello everyone, welcome back to All the Mod 7 to the Sky. Last episode we got some mechanism automation going for whatever this is called, uranium hexafluoride. And this episode we're going to go ahead and start Botania. Botania is one of my favorite mods, as well as mechanism. Um, definitely one of my favorite magic mods. I don't know if it's my absolute favorite, but like I said, definitely up there. So let's get into it. I'm going to take a play out of Direwolf 20's book and make every 10th episode a world download. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to put all my inventory in a chest, and you guys can have access to this world. It'll be available for free on my Patreon. My Patreon isn't currently set up, but, I just figure that's a good place to have it all in one place. You can get all my world downloads all there, every 10 episodes. And of course, at the end of each of my series, I'll also put the world download on there. Make sure they're all prettied up for you guys so you can have access to that. So. Alright, so we are Lexico Botania, under some crafting. Crafted this flower pouch to hold our flowers. We used mystical floral fertilizer to get those. So now let's go ahead and make our petal apothecary. And then we're going to make a pure daisy with that. Let's go ahead and see if we can automate the petal apothecary a little bit. Oh, we have seeds up there. Okay. So, first things first, let's see if this works. Doesn't connect that side. Okay, maybe not. That's fine. We can do it manually. Alright, so we got our pure daisies, which will be used to make living rock and living wood. So we'll go ahead and set these up like this. Let's get some logs and some stone. And go ahead and surround these. And it takes 1 minute to convert these to their living counterparts. Okay, so I would set up something like this where I can just builder's wand it, so it automatically does 32 at a time. And then I can select the underside of the stone to get my living stone. That way I can do it much faster and just super quick. That was me repeating myself. Okay, so now with that living rock, we can go ahead and make some mana pools. And with the living wood, we can make some mana spreaders. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. I want to take whatever one I have the most of because it doesn't really matter what the colors are for this portion. So let's go ahead and make 4 of those, I guess. And now I need more petals. This one I like to do like a magenta maybe. Because, I don't know, it's fun, I guess. And then these take these, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now, wait, there's nothing about mana generation in here, is there? Because I just realized I don't have any pinned generating flora over here, so I better figure out what I want to use. Okay, I'm going to go back to my roots, I think, and do some hydrangeas, because they are pretty cool. They just take some water, although I think they do disappear after a certain amount of time. Yeah, so they decay after about 3 days of production. But by that time, I should be able to get something better. I don't know what. Maybe the entropinnyums. I've never actually used the entropinnyums. They use explosions, I believe. Yeah, that seems super doable. So maybe I'll make some entropinnyums once I'm done with the hydroangeas. Another way you can get the petals is you can craft these petals like this. And then you can plant them. Then you can bone meal that. Then you can shear those. And, oh, apparently those do go in the bag now. That's interesting. They didn't used to do that. But now these ones get 4 petals instead of the 2. So you can basically quadruple your petals that way. But I don't want those to go in the bag because I'm going to keep doing this over and over. So alright, so we got half a stack of hydrangeas. Pumping some mana in. It's pretty slow. Doesn't do a lot. But looks like one mana spreader can keep up with all 8 of these on each of these. Yeah, so that's good. I do have enough to craft another 32, so I might do that once these have stopped working. And then we'll have plenty of mana to do whatever we want in the future generation. So like I said, probably entropinnyums, because those are interesting. Gormillas are also pretty interesting. I feel like all the ways of generating mana in this mod are interesting in their own way. And I haven't messed with a lot of them. But, you know, I'm pretty sure TNT is pretty easy to make in this pack. Yeah, it's default recipe. So we'll do that in this pack, and then maybe the next pack that has Botania, we'll try something else. Okay, so here we are a couple hours later. We've cycled through a full stack of these. And we're going to go ahead and clean this up. And then we can hopefully... we should have enough mana to get to the entropinnyums. First things first, let's get some of these mana products. Okay, so we're going to make a runic altar. Because we need runes for this entropinnyum. So we'll need a rune of fire and a rune of wrath, which will take a rune of winter and a rune of earth, and the rune of earth will, or the rune of winter, take a rune of water and a rune of earth. We already had rune of earth on there. So we'll just need to get those things together, and then we can go ahead and put, let's see, put that there, and we'll put double mana spreaders to make sure we're getting double the speed. All right, and now let's get all the stuff for those runes. So the nice thing about this crafting process is it doesn't use up the runes. So if you, like, it won't use those runes. It will use everything else, though. So for instance, this is going to use my 2 mana diamonds, but it'll give me back both these runes. So I can make as many runes of wrath as I have mana diamonds for, without having to make more and more runes. So I just like to keep about 2 of each on hand, just to be safe with any crafting I want to do. But now that I have this, I can actually craft this right now. The Petal Apothecary will use the runes, so if you might want to be careful with that. If you want to keep, like I said, 2 on hand or whatever. So I'll need red, gray, and white petals. Okay, so I made these the floating variant of the entropinnyums, because they're fun, and they're not that hard to make. All you have to do is make a floating variety of a flower, which just takes a normal flower, pasture seed, which is grass in the mana pool, and you actually make the normal flower glimmering, and then that's it. So then you combine it with your flower, and then they're floating. So now these entropinnyums should not only muffle the TNT sound, but also make it so it doesn't do any damage. This is obsidian tier just in case I mess up, and it doesn't negate the explosion damage, and so that will hopefully make minimal damage to the surrounding area. I might raise these walls a little bit more higher, and I'm probably going to make a dispenser that actually dispenses the TNT instead of have to place it manually. But as long as these guys aren't full of mana, or don't have any mana in them, the TNT will be negated basically. So we just got to find a way to automatically figure out if this is going, or just know how long it goes for, either way. But it generates quite a bit of mana, I think. We're splitting between 4 mana pools, so you can't really tell very well, but they do make quite a bit of mana. Definitely more than our hydrangea setup was making. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is this terrestrial agglomeration plate. This is to make Terrasteel. So we need, let's see, we need block mana steel. Okay, so we need that. And then we need to set up an area within range of these guys. I'll probably just make it right here. We'll go ahead and break out a section like this for these. Then these ones will be lapis blocks. Then on top of this middle block, we will put our terrestrial agglomeration plate. Then we will put a spark. I would put sparks on all those mana pools. The sparks let us transfer mana like the mana spreaders, but a little bit differently. And this guy can't accept mana spreader mana. It can only accept them from the sparks. And then we want to get a mana pearl, a mana ingot, and a mana diamond. And then we want to make sure our magnet is off. And then we go ahead and right-click these or drop them onto the middle. Right-clicking is just a little more accurate. And then it sucks up some mana. And then once it goes around, it gets us Terrasteel. Now, I think it uses a quarter or half a mana pool's worth of mana. I don't remember 100%. But it's a not insignificant amount of mana. So we're going to need to be generating as much as possible. Okay, so this is technically only scanning this one mana pool. When I have spark augments, we can put a not dominant, recessive spark on one of these mana pools and just shoot all our mana into that, and then it will disperse to any other mana pools that have a spark on them, and then we can check our how full that one is, and that will be the most accurate way to know that our mana battery is full. Because right now it's only checking this mana pool, so if this mana pool is empty, but these three are all full, we could have problems. But that's actually not going to work there, is it? That's fine, we can move it one more away. And we're not checking for it to be completely full, we're just checking for it to be almost completely full. So, technically, it should be enough of a buffer, especially since this is the most empty mana pool, not this one right now. So as long as we hopefully keep something like that going, making sure we're taking from that mana pool last of all of them. So when this one's full, it will constantly power this one, meaning that the hourglass I'm putting here will not be able to power it, which means that it will not be able to make more TNT explode. So I don't remember exactly how much it is. I think is sand 1 second per and soul sand is a minute per or something like that. I don't entirely remember. So let's put in 48 first. I just don't want to put in too little and have everything explode. But 30 seconds should be enough. Okay, so 30 seconds is enough that only one triggers. So let's go ahead and put in closer to 14 seconds should be good, hopefully. Okay, that should be pretty much foolproof. So it should just run. I could probably fine-tune it a little more, but I don't need to have 100% efficiency. I'd rather have a system that doesn't blow itself up than 100% efficiency. Okay, so here we have the Elven Portal, which you should be able to activate just by clicking this guy. So we have our Elven Gateway, our Glimmering Living Wood, and just some Living Wood logs. And it looks like we have just enough mana to open that. Now, the problem is, I need to craft with that. Luckily, keeping it open doesn't cost any mana anymore. But I do need a recessive spark so that I can make sure that mana continues to get over here. So, we're going to go ahead and give it as much mana as we can. That's going to be way more than we need for recessive spark. So the recessive spark augment is going to take a pixie dust, which is an ender or mana pearl in there. So mana pearl in there, and they trade back pixie dust. And now we're going to go ahead and make a recessive spark augment. So the different spark augments do different things. So the dispersive one, I believe it disperses mana into, if you're wearing like a mana ring or a mana tablet, it'll charge that up from a distance, a little, not a distance, but like you won't have to drop it in the mana pool to charge it. Dominant will pull from all other mana pools with sparks. Recessive will push to all other mana pools with sparks. And isolated will make it so it's on its own system, so it's not actually part of the dominant and recessive system, which will mean that you can still, like, I believe you can still pull from it for, like, if your terrestrial agglomeration plate needs mana, it'll still pull. But as you can see from those particles, it's pushing out the mana it's got. And we're out of TNT. So let's just make like 9 stacks, I think. And dump this all in there. Because like I said, this should have an automatic shut off now. And if we want to make a bigger battery, all we have to do is add more mana pools with more sparks. And we could be just feeding directly into this mana pool all of our mana that we're creating. That would work just fine. But I like this mana splitter because it splits it between the 4 mana pools. It really doesn't matter either way, which way I do it. But this is just what I like. I like the mana splitter. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to keep using it. Okay, so I've done a couple things. I added a extra 9 mana pool battery. I'll probably expand that in future because so while Terrasteel takes half a mana pool, well, apparently no. Anyway, this Alfheim takes 2 mana pools worth of mana to make 1 ingot, and so we're gonna need a lot of mana for that. I also added this so that we can have more storage for TNT because I ran out again. So yeah, that's what I've done up here. And then if we go right down here, down 1 level, I have a temporary setup for manual crafting of runes. So I've got all the rune recipes in here, minus the actual like runes themselves. So like as you can see, these runes don't just have 2 mana diamonds, because like I said, I'm just gonna keep a couple of each rune available so that I can craft any runes I need. Oh, and I also upgraded this mana spread to an elven mana spreader because it just like pumps out the mana way faster. And you know what I should add to each of these recipes is living rock, because they each take 1 of those. Okay, now I have all of the tier 1 and tier 2 runes auto-craftable, or like fully set up. So I've got like cake set up for the Rune of Winter. I've got all the recipes set up perfectly. Now there is another tier of runes, and that's these Asgardian runes. I think that's what they're called. Or the, I don't know. They're named after the, I don't know what it's called actually. The like levels of the like Norse lore. So like okay, this is only really my knowledge of based off what the Thor movies have taught, because I don't really know that much about Norse lore. But Midgard is Earth, I think, and obviously Asgard is Asgard, and then there's all these other worlds or whatever. So they're all autocraftable too. But I have to make extra stuff for them. Well, for some of them, like this one, I have to make the Rod of the Bifrost. So that's a bunch of stuff. So I'll automate all that stuff, like I said, between episodes. I'll just need like a dropper to drop into here and something to pick up whatever comes out of here. And then I'll just need 1 mana pool that has probably a dominant spark that I can just auto drop stuff onto and pick up the stuff that's processed. Probably even automate the runic altar. But might be a little more complex. I'll have to figure that out between episodes. But this mana infuser, I believe, should take the place of our terrestrial agglomeration plate over here. So I just need whatever the crafting recipe is for this. I have that one, I have that one, got that one. So I just need the Rune of Asgard, which means I need one Rod of Bifrost, which I can make easily. I did not make tier 3 runes. These are tier 4 runes. I need to make the 7 Deadly Sins runes. So those are easy though. They're just 2 mana diamonds and tier 1 and a tier 2 rune. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay. Easily enough got all the tier 3 runes. Now we go into tier 4 runes. So Rod of the Bifrost can take... Oh, we might actually have all that stuff in the system. Let's see. We don't, but we can get some mana pearls. And I believe it's 1 for 1 on those. So let's go ahead and drop those into the Alfheim portal. Okay. And then now we have a Rod of Bifrost. You can throw that in there, and then we can get a Asgard rune. Okay. And that should be over in this chest over here, which I should put closer to my let's see, Pride, Autumn, Air, Pride, Autumn. Yeah, I should put this closer to my Botania setup, but hopefully it won't be over there long. And then we want to drop these here. The one interesting thing about the Rod of the Bifrost is you can make, with Alpha Class, you can make some Bifrost blocks. And we're going to need 5 of those, because we're going to need to combine those with Living Rock to make Shimmer Rock. And then we're going to need some, I think it's gold blocks. That'll replace this over here. I suppose there's only really one way to test it, or I guess there's technically 3 ways to test it, but there's only one way we're going to test it, and that's with making some Terrasteel. This might need a Dominant Spark, for whatever reason. So let's get that going. There we go. Much faster. So yeah, looks like this multi-block is set up right. I'll fight the Gaia Guardian next time. And that should be pretty much all for Botania. Actually, what does it take for the mod? The ATM star. What does it need Botania for? Okay, so it looks like there's not really that much you need for the ATM star. You just need like Dragon Stones for the Dragon Souls. I think it's only like 2 per ATM star. So that's like super simple. We probably have enough mana for that already. But then you also need some runes of Muspelheim and runes of Nidavellir. But those are 1 each, and so we probably honestly don't even have to progress anymore in Botania. But I want to wrap this up. Because there's some, like, there's some things that give you some, like, baubles that give you extra benefits and stuff. So I do want to get into those next episode. But we're going to expand this battery between episodes. I have to assume there's got to be a use for the Elementum. Is that what it's called? Alfsteel? There's got to be a use for this somewhere, right? Maybe it doesn't need anything else, so... Interesting. So, next episode will be the last episode of Botania, maybe. So then maybe I'll try to set up the Botania automation in the next episode, since that'll be pretty much all there is left of Botania.